Sons and daughters of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré is calling on us to prioritize economic development over religion. My fellow Africans, a few days ago, our brother Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the face of Africa and the leader of Burkina Faso, ignited a fiery debate across the continent. Though he is a Muslim, he warned that blind ideology and foreign agendas must not derail our destiny. He called on Burkinabe students studying Sharia in Arab states to remain there after graduation and instructed that only those learning science, engineering, and technology should return home. He declared with unmistakable conviction, "If this is your Islam, we will fight it. Extremists must change. If they do not, the battle has begun." He stressed that every faith has a place in his country, but no doctrine will be allowed to undermine Burkina's development. Some have cried out that Traoré is anti-Muslim or anti-God, but he has answered that he simply refuses to import ideas that hurt Africa. He has pointedly said, religion should spread through example rather than coercion or violence. In other words, he values peaceful worship, but he rejects fanaticism disguised as faith. He even accused foreign powers of exploiting religious differences to weaken us. This controversy forces us to ask, since independence, have we African nations truly built our future, or have we clung to beliefs that keep us down? Consider our heritage. Africa is not a land that suddenly woke up without ideas. Our ancestors always knew the divine. The Ewe people of Ghana and Togo call the supreme being Mau, the one who exceeds all else. The Akans call him Nyame, meaning the supreme creator. In Burkina Faso itself, the Mossi people honor Wende the creator. These were not primitive notions, but deep understandings of spirituality long before any foreign religion arrived. Nor was Africa ignorant of technology and science. We discovered iron and metalworking on our own. Archaeologists find iron furnaces in West Africa about 4,656 years ago. By 400 BCE, we were trading gold, copper, cotton, and leather with distant empires. Great African kingdoms, Ghana in the 4th century, Mali in the 13th century, built thriving societies with universities, libraries, and agriculture, while the rest of the world was still in its infancy. Industries were beginning to emerge, and economic growth was driven through sustainable means, long before the large-scale dependence on fossil fuels and industrial pollution that characterizes much of modern industrialization. Techniques were continually being discovered to make daily work easier, improve productivity, and enhance the value addition process. These innovations laid the foundation for large-scale production and industrialization long before the world entered what is now called the Industrial Revolution. This shows that the spirit of innovation and technological progress had long been part of Africa's civilization. If you doubt it, ask yourself, why did great scholars such as Pythagoras, Plato, and Thales travel to Africa, particularly ancient Egypt, in search of knowledge? They came to study mathematics, geometry, astronomy, philosophy, medicine, and the sciences that had flourished on African soil for centuries. Africa was not merely a receiver of knowledge. It was one of the world's earliest centers of learning and innovation. Those who borrowed our knowledge can never teach us who God is. Our traditional societies lived in balance with nature. Across the continent, sacred groves, totems, and taboos preserved forests and wildlife. Pre-colonial Africans understood stewardship. They limited hunting, set aside royal game reserves, and respected the land as an ancestor. In other words, for millennia we farmed, mined, manufactured sustainably without wrecking the environment. Today, by contrast, Africa faces floods and droughts that threaten our harvests. Some distant dreamers talk of escaping to Mars, but science reminds us, Mars is simply no substitute for Earth. Surely not for the more than 8.2 billion people who call this planet home. Our paradise is here, and it is under threat. The arrival of Arabs and Europeans did not lift us upward. In fact, they often tied us down. The slave trade and colonialism brutally suppressed our economies and twisted religion. Missionaries who preached faith owned slaves the most. Walk through the slave castles and dungeons of Africa, and you will witness one of history's greatest contradictions. In places such as Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle, churches stood above the dungeons where enslaved African men, women, and children cried in chains, while hymns were sung and prayers were offered above. Human beings suffered, starved, and waited below to be shipped across the Atlantic. They didn't just carry our people away. They changed our way of worship, imposing beliefs that would facilitate their evil machinations. Our own faiths were derided as primitive, and instead of sharing technology, invaders tried to change how we worshipped God. They left us impoverished and divided. Today we must decide, will we blame the West forever, or will we look inward at how we build our nations? In places where religious zeal is unchecked, studies note bitter outcomes. Vast sums pour into grand mosques and megachurches, while schools and clinics go begging. When leaders say just pray and God will provide, people may stop looking for practical solutions. If every problem is seen as a test of faith, nobody learns engineering or agriculture. This is the real question Captain Traoré raises. Can prayer alone feed our hungry people? I urge you, African salvation lies in our unity and in work, not in imported dogma. We must invest in science, industry, and agriculture. We should welcome every voice of faith, but we cannot permit any ideology to block schools or factories. Recall how Ghana's first president insisted on secular, science-based education. He argued that religion has its place, but what we teach in our schools must be science-based. Nkrumah insisted Ghana be a secular nation, not bound to a pulpit. We have learned that lesson before. Consider the youth of Africa. Will they return from abroad as doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs, or as preachers telling us to reject modernity? Traoré says he will welcome only those who add value to our economy. In the world's great economies, from East Asia to Europe, faith may guide the heart, but nations rise by factories, laboratories, and fields. We must ask, are we equipping our children with technology or theology? Kwame Nkrumah understood that political freedom and continental unity must come first. Remember when he said, "Seek ye first the political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto you." In our context, that means building our economic and political kingdom first. Then blessings will follow. No scripture tells us to ignore our ovens, our fields, and our schools. We must follow the path Nkrumah charted, forward. My friends, reflect on this. Can Africa ever prosper if we keep our young people dreaming of miracles instead of science? Will our future come from foreign sermons or from African innovation? Are we investing enough in the industries, education, and technologies that will define the next century? What greater weapon do we possess than an educated African youth, united across tribes and faiths? The choice is clear. Africa's destiny will be written not in prayers alone, but in our own effort, unity, and creativity. Remember Nkrumah's call. We have awakened. We will not sleep anymore. Today, there is a new African in the world. So must we awaken now. Awaken to our heritage of ingenuity and our potential as a united people. Let us build factories with the same fervor we build temples. And let us cultivate ideas as we cultivate faith. Foreign imported beliefs are not older than our own spirit of genius. Africa's rebirth depends on trusting that spirit. My fellow Africans, we cannot rely on spacefaring billionaires or divine rescue. Our salvation lies here on African soil, in schools and laboratories and community halls. If we come together, traditionalist, Muslim, Christian, in the pursuit of development, we shall fulfill the promise of independence. Each of us has a role: engineers, farmers, teachers, innovators. This is our moment to prove that when the African is given a chance, he is somebody, as Nkrumah said. Thank you for listening to Broadcasting from Conakry. If this message has inspired you, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with others, and leave your thoughts in the comments section. Your voice is important in shaping the future of Africa.